Ever wondered which planet is the ultimate neighbor in our solar system? Get ready to have your mind blown, because Mercury is closer to every other planet than any of them are to each other. Yep, you heard that right. This surprising fact flips our traditional understanding of planetary distances upside down. So, buckle up as we dive into the fascinating orbital mechanics that make Mercury a cosmic neighbor to all. Prepare to have your misconceptions shattered in this eye-opening video. Mercury, famously known for its scorching proximity to the Sun, might seem like the closest planet to Earth, right? Well, not exactly. The reality is a bit more complex and intriguing. While Mercury boasts the shortest average distance from the Sun, Venus often spends a significant amount of time relatively close to Earth during its orbit. This twist means that depending on how you measure it, whether by average distance, closest approach, or time spent near Earth, Venus might take the crown. This nuanced perspective challenges traditional views and highlights the ever-changing dance of our planetary neighbors. Let's break it down further. Picture our solar system's layout, the Sun at the center, with planets orbiting around it at varying speeds and distances. When we consider the average distance between planets, things get more interesting. For a long time, we assumed the closest planet to Earth must be either Venus or Mars, because they seem to orbit relatively close to us. But when we take a more comprehensive look at their orbital paths and time spent near Earth, Mercury emerges as a surprising contender. Take a peek at a solar system diagram and you'll notice Venus and Mars appear closest to Earth. Some argue Venus wins because on average it's closer, but this method only looks at the nearest points in their orbits, not the whole picture. To truly determine which planet stays closest to Earth on average, we need a broader view. Technically, Venus can be closest to Earth at certain points in their orbits, but it's not a constant relationship. Venus can be a whopping 160 million miles away at its farthest. When Venus drifts so far, Mars can sneak in as the closest neighbor, coming as close as 33.9 million miles during its closest approach. This shifting proximity highlights the dynamic nature of our planetary orbits. To find a more stable answer, we consider which planet stays closest to Earth on average. And guess what? Mercury wins this race. Thanks to its tiny orbit, Mercury doesn't get as far from Earth as Venus or Mars. So, over time, Mercury holds the title of Earth's closest neighbor. Mercury's tight orbit around the Sun not only makes it the closest planet to our star, but also the closest to every other planet in our solar system. This quirky aspect means Mercury maintains the shortest average distance from any other planet. Even though it doesn't get super close, it also doesn't stray far, staying relatively nearby compared to the vast distances between other planets. Recent studies have unveiled a mind-bending fact. Mercury is the closest planet to all 7 other planets in our solar system. This insight comes from a fresh way of measuring proximity, looking at the average distances and how often planets come near to each other. When scientists assess which planet is closest, they typically measure the average distance and minimum distance during orbits. For instance, Venus and Mars often seem nearest to Earth when you look at orbital diagrams. However, this approach doesn't consider the overall average distance throughout their orbits. Venus's proximity to Earth fluctuates significantly. Sometimes it's really close. Other times it's on the far side of the Sun, much farther away. This variability creates a fluctuating relationship with Earth. In contrast, Mercury's small, tight orbit around the Sun means it never strays too far from any planet, maintaining a consistent average closeness. Mercury's unique status as the closest planet to every other in our solar system reshapes our understanding of planetary distances. This different method of measuring planetary proximity challenges traditional views and reveals the complex orbital dynamics at play. Mercury's small orbit not only positions it as the closest planet to the Sun, but also makes it the closest planet to all other planets in our solar system. This unique aspect of Mercury's orbit means that, on average, it maintains the shortest distance compared to any other planet when measured from the centers of their orbits. Despite this proximity, Mercury never gets extremely close to any of these planets due to its relatively small orbital path. However, it also never drifts very far away from them. It's important to contextualize what small orbit means in astronomical terms. While Mercury orbits the Sun at an average distance of approximately 58 million kilometers. This distance is vast compared to any human-scale distances on Earth. For perspective, the distance between planets in our solar systems are immense, reflecting the vastness of space and the scale of the celestial bodies in our universe. Recent research has brought forth a fascinating revelation. Mercury stands out as the closest planet to all 7 other planets within our solar system. This assertion challenges conventional understanding and stems from a fresh perspective on measuring planetary proximity. Let's dig a little deeper into this. When assessing which planet is closest to another, scientists typically calculate the average distance between their orbits and consider the minimal distance they reach during their respective orbits around the Sun. For instance, Venus and Mars often appear closest to Earth when viewed from a simple orbital diagram. This perspective seems logical at first, as we calculate the minimum distance between planets during their respective orbits. For example, when considering that the average distance between Earth and Mars is approximately 225 million kilometers. In Earth's orbital dynamics, the proximity of Venus varies significantly over time. At certain points during Venus's orbit around the Sun, it can approach Earth very closely. This close approach occurs because Venus has a smaller average distance to Earth compared to other planets. And when this happens, you can actually see Venus quite clearly with the naked eye if you look up into the sky. However, Venus also spends substantial periods positioned on the opposite side of the Sun from Earth. During these long times, the distance between Venus and Earth increases considerably, leading to a significant fluctuation in proximity between the 2 planets throughout Venus's orbital cycle. In stark contrast to Venus, Mercury's orbital dynamics are influenced by its close proximity to the Sun. Mercury's orbit is the smallest of all planets in our solar system, which means it never strays far from any other planets in terms of orbital distance. And because Mercury is so close to the Sun, it almost has the same orbit and therefore the same distance between it and the other planets. This consistent proximity relative to its small orbit contributes to Mercury being classified as the closest planet to all 7 other planets in the solar system. Mind blown. This alternative method challenges the conventional understanding of planetary closeness, which traditionally hinges on measuring the physical distance between orbits. By emphasizing orbital dynamics and the varying times each planet spends near Earth versus on the far side of the Sun, this perspective offers a more nuanced view of planetary relationships in our solar system. Mercury's unique status as the closest planet to every other in our solar system challenges our understanding of planetary distances, as we see deeper into orbital dynamics. Some different questions arise, like, what secrets does Mercury's proximity reveal? How do its orbits influence our view of planetary relationships? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and subscribe for more. See you next time.